start in Tadasana, I leave this up to you. If you benefit from standing at the wall, if it gives you good feedback, stand at the wall. If not, stand in the middle of the room. Away from the wall, not in the middle of the room, away from the wall. And work with your feet. You know, it's important to build any structure from bottom up, from the base to the top. So first of all, work on your feet a little bit. I don't understand that. I just don't understand it. Anyway, so work on your feet, stand tall, spread out the toes, bring the big toes together. Look at that. And really spread your feet on the floor. Then think about drawing the inner heels as if you were going to slightly scoot them toward one another. And then outer heels back. And that really, honestly, I know that sounds impossible to do, but it's not. You just imagine, what would it be like? These are physical actions, but imagine you can't do it. If you can't get anything out of it, just imagine it. And one of the benefits of doing that is this side upper thigh hip area, the thigh bone fixes into that hip socket. So I want you to feel that in your legs as you're standing. On my notes, I call this pose Tadasana forever. So we're going to be doing it for a while. So use your feet, use your legs, lift your kneecaps, and with thinking of bringing the outer heel back, see if you can't feel a little bit of a response in this area. Maintain that as you draw your tailbone in. When you draw your tailbone in, this lower abdomen should lift slightly. When I was learning this, and I think at least when I learned, I tend to overwork until I can get better at it. Seems normal. I would grip all up in my ribs. And so the next step I always say is to then release up into the ribs, holding this area firm below your navel. Everything below your navel is making a muscle. And from that area upward, it's still working. It still has a job, but it's a different job. This is meant to lift and spread. So use your breath, and as you hold the bottom, really lift and expand your rib cage. Notice what happens to your tailbone when you do that. Often, if I'm not very attentive, my tailbone will go backward or release when I lift this. So notice that for yourself. It's a subtle thing, but it's an important thing. Back to the feet, up through the legs, reinforce all your actions, and then as you lift up, feel that lift come all the way to the crown of your head, and as you exhale, maintain it, and allow your shoulders to release down. Now, make a muscle with all the muscles of your arm. Tighten all those muscles into the bone. Extend your palms and fingers. Maintain the breath. Straight arms. Straight arms. Firm tailbone to pubic bone. Slow, steady breath. When you've brought yourself to this spot in your practice, you have an opportunity then to notice if you're more wobbly today or less wobbly today. If you are on the front of your foot or the heel. If you are on one leg more than the other. One side of your trunk feels a little different than the other. Not that they should actually feel the same. If, like me, if you have scoliosis, I have to purposefully lift one side for them to be the same. So it's not always 100% feeling thing. You have to look and observe as well. Now, keep all of that going. This sounds simple. Keep all that going and take your arms out to the side and revolve them from your shoulders. What happened? Do you still have the same intensity and integrity in your body? Maybe not. It's very interesting how our brain, and it's a good thing, goes to the action. So reinforce the action from the feet, legs, especially those feet. Remember how important they were. Drawing up through your trunk, shoulders down. Inhale, lift to the crown of your head. Exhale, soften the shoulders down. Keep extending your arms. Then bring them up. And stretch from the feet up through the shoulders, through the arms, up. Urdhva Hastasana, upward arms, upward hands. Flex at the wrist, push the heel of the hand toward the ceiling, and come down. Step out just a second. This will do again. Some of you may wonder, why did we do this pose so many times during class? And I typically take a while in the beginning. Well, because it's the baseline. And it can become a meditative pose for you. So learn to love it. All right, Tadasana. Okay, so the weight is slightly more on the heels, but balanced on the foot. Big toes together. Scrub the heels inward and draw the heels, the outer heels back. Feel the firming of the leg that comes with that. Lift your kneecaps. When you lift your kneecaps, you have to tighten these muscles on the front of the thigh. Remember this area I told you about in the first class on the upper outer thigh and hip. Tailbone forward, pubic bone in and up. So everything from just below your navel down now is making a muscle. From that area upward is different action of extension and expansion. Let your ribs move. Lift all the way up through the crown of your head. Take your shoulders to the back and down. Firm your arms and breathe. Notice how he is reacting this time. Is it a little steadier? Is it worse? How is it reacting? Arms to the side. Notice how you were last time. I don't know about you, but my tailbone was not behaving very well, so I'm paying special attention to it this time. This time we're going to interlock the fingers, Baddha Uduyasana, and roll the palms up. Mind back down to the feet, up through the legs. Quick review, up, tailbone, pubic bone. Hold that firm as you bring your arms up. Heel of the hand toward the ceiling, not the fingers. The fingers extend and breathe. Watch that tailbone, pubic bone, and the strength of the legs. Breathe. And bring that down, hold your pose. And then relax and step out a minute. I know this gets tiring, that's why we're stepping out. This doesn't, no one would imagine that this is tiring, would they? Just to watch us do it? It's surprising. All right, one more time. Balls of the big toes go together. Heels as close as you can get them, and get the big toes together. Draw up through your legs. Adjust the pelvis, tailbone, pubic bone. Abdomen lifts. Arms to the side. Shoulders down, extend as you inhale, extend up through the crown of your head. As you exhale, firm the feet on the floor. As you inhale, draw arms up. Pay attention to the posture. The posture. We're going to The interlock of the hands. If you forgot what you did, just do and then switch it, because most likely you will do the same. We're all habitual. And before we fully extend the arms, mind goes back to the feet, double checking, make sure we've held our posture up through the shoulders, lift the chest, extend the elbows, extend the heel of the hand, soften the lower ribs. And extend your arms to the side and come out. Just take a moment and notice how you're, I mean, all we did was stand up straight. I don't know, I felt like that was sort of empowering, invigorating, energizing. So this is a very simple thing that you can do. Now, I want to take all of the principles that we've just worked with and do Uttanasana. Actually, let me turn this sideways just a little bit. I think you can see me better at the wall here when I show this. So what I would like for you to do is to face the wall. Engage your legs. The feet can be hip width apart, but have the toes in a bit. Draw up the kneecaps. Tadasana action. Tailbone, pubic bone, up through your trunk. Take an inhale. Take that lift all the way through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, release the shoulders down, burn the arms. Take another inhale. We're going to bend forward at the hip crease and do Uttanasana, half Uttanasana at the wall. So put your hands on the wall about shoulder height. You may have to adjust your feet just a little bit so that you can really extend your arms and your trunk. Then go back in everything we just did in Tadasana. So be slightly pigeon-toed. Scrub those heels in and outer heels draw back, engaging the area at the upper thigh into the hip socket. Draw your tailbone in, your pubic bone in and up so that your abdomen is lifted. See that you are getting closer to 90 degrees. Press your hands into the wall. Press your thighs back. Lift your kneecaps up. Look at the wall and breathe. And then come up, step in, and stand up. I will tell you that it took me a while to understand that pose because, like a lot of yoga asanas, especially if you're reasonably flexible and strong, you can fake it. I mean, I can be at the wall like this, and I'm not doing anything. I mean, there's no effort to this at all. What I did before that was full of effort. I was doing my best to engage every muscle. So yoga can be a matter of sort of overdoing sometimes to make a point. Did you understand what I mean? Yeah? Okay. So let's try that one more time and see how much, it's like, most of you are old enough to remember manual shift cars. It's like having the clutch down and revving the engine. Okay? One more time, stand facing your wall. Tadasana, go through all of your actions. Feet. Kneecaps lift. Outer thighs back and into the socket. Tailbone forward, pubic bone in. Let that pose work its way through you. up to the crown of your head. Shoulders down, arms firm. Take an inhale. As you exhale, maintain all of that action and bend at the hip crease. Hands on the wall. You may need to step back a bit, but do that very mindfully and then regain all of your actions through the legs, abdomen, tailbone, pubic bone. Push your hips away from the wall. Press your entire palm on the wall, fingers spread, and look at the wall. And then walk in and stand up. I hope you were able to feel how that pose works through your body. One of the benefits of working in a more modified fashion. Now, we're going to do it again, and for those who want to do more, you can do it on your chair. If you are still very happy working on the wall, just keep working at the wall. It's fine. You get a lot of work out of it. Of course, when you change an angle, the work shifts, and so it is a progression, but we have to make those steps as we're ready. It takes a different body education. So here, we're going to stand in front of our chair. We're going to Dana Tadasana all the way through. As you inhale, get ready. As you exhale, bend at the hip crease. Bring your hands forward to the wall or to the back of the chair or to the seat of the chair. And at that point, reinvigorate your legs. Draw your kneecaps up, kick those outer thighs, upper thighs in and back. It is true that the hamstring should spread. That gets to be a very tricky deal. We'll just stick with this for now. So extend your arms forward as you can. If you're comfortable and you're working well, you bring your hands down to the legs of the chair. But keep the legs on your body really working, lifting, pulling back, extend your trunk, lift your abdomen, slide yourself down so that the upper back stays in, the legs stay strong, and then walk your hands back up and stand. Very good. Can you feel that work? Yeah. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to work at the side of again so you can see better. This is going to be Virabhadrasana 1. Virabhadrasana 1, which the wall looks like this. And important part is to learn to turn this hip. So you see where the hip is now. My approach is to work a little bit softer in the legs to get the hips to turn and make the pelvis perpendicular back to Tadasana, and then keep that as you straighten your legs up. So you could practice with that for a moment, and then bend the knee, and keep all of that. All right. The issue with this pose is how far this leg has to be back. It's always an issue. And with me, it is, for me to get all the way down, I usually have to take 2 shots at it. All right. Ideally, your back heel will be on the floor. Not everybody has that in them. But the main thing is that this trunk stays more or less straight. The lift comes in the upper back. Okay, that's the pose from the side. So when we do this at the wall, we have a helper. We can bring the toes, unless you have some issue with your toes, bring your toes up the wall. So just bring your foot a little high on the wall and slide it down. And then you can really lean forward and step back because you have the wall to support you. All right. Then we also have leverage on the wall to help us turn our hip. So everybody get that far with me. Go to your wall, put your feet, your toes up the wall.
Susie, move the chair.
Oh, so sorry. Thank you. There you go. You move the mirror too. We'll see if that crashes. I hope it doesn't. All right, so the toes, we're going to go up the wall. See, this is where a little spotlight would help. The nice thing about doing this at the wall, as I said, you saw when I did it on the middle of the room, this back foot has to go very far back to do this pose properly. So this way you can use the wall, lean forward and support yourself and really take that back leg back. The heel of the back foot is kind of at a 45-degree angle. Then you can hands on the wall to help you push that right hip back and pull the left hip forward. Can you see? So it goes from here, which would be normal, to here, around, so that the hips are equidistant from the wall. Then we need to get this trunk perpendicular. So my suggestion is to come up on the back toes, bend the front, and then draw your tailbone in, pubic bone in and up. Get into this Tadasana action from the bottom to the top of your trunk. This also gives this leg a little preview of the stretch we're about to install in it. So it gives it in a moment to get ready. So then you're going to stretch the heel back, and the idea is to keep the trunk. And this may be where you stay with this pose. It may be where I stay today. It's not cooperating with me very well. Must be all the weather. All right, so we get our hip to really move forward so that both hips are equal to the wall. Then we lift, we stretch the legs, we lift our chest, we begin to bend the right knee. The first thing that will normally happen is your belly button will just want to blossom, will want to go forward. So try a slight bend on your knee a couple of times and get awareness, gain awareness and control of that reaction. And then begin to bend your knee more. Chest up, shoulders down, tailbone firmly in, stretching that back leg as hard as you can, even if it doesn't go to the floor. Breathing, and then coming up. And square your feet. And step them together. These are like big deal poses, right? You're working with the big deal muscles. So you have to work firmly. All right, left foot forward. Lean forward, get that right leg way back. Heel to arch alignment. As you take that heel down, have that experience for a moment. Then you may need to lift that heel a little bit to get that right hip to come forward, left hip to go backward. And these portions of the pose are things that you can, especially when you use the video, that you can stand and practice just this part for a bit until you feel like it's coming. Here we have to, keep going. And stretch your heel down again and draw the pelvis up and lift your trunk, lift your chest. Now we're going to begin to bend the left knee. As long as possible, keep that right heel down. Your elbows will bend but you're pushing yourself, your trunk, away from the wall. It should not come very close. It should not move forward much at all. In fact, if you really retract your shoulders, maybe the arms can even stay straight or near straight. And then come up. You can feel the work that these legs have to learn to do. This is certainly going to help all of us, you know, as we walk down our uneven streets and walk through the woods and hit a pot. So, yes. All right, now, applying the same principle, a similar principle with the hips to Parsvottanasana. Man, it is rocking and rolling in my neighborhood. The storm is really big. All right. Right foot goes under the chair. Left foot steps back smartly. It's about a 3.5, 4 foot, a little less than triangle pose. You have this same hip issue. They're uneven, and we want them to turn to face the chair. And so what I say is, you know, discretion is the better part of valor, right? So you can use your discretion. I do a better job of getting my hips around if I let my knees soften for a moment. And then, so it's such an important part of this pose that I think that's a good choice. And then we're going to draw the tailbone in, come to Tadasana trunk, straighten your legs, and lift your chest. So the hips are equal distant to the front of the chair. You can put your hands on the back of the chair or the seat. Take an inhale, get really strong, lift yourself up, move forward at the hip socket. Watch that hip socket. That right hip socket's going to want to come forward. So keep drawing it back, and you'll have a little extra leverage once you touch whatever you're going to touch, because you can push that hip back using the strength of your arms, pushing forward on the chair. You can pull that hip back more. And once you've gotten some response there, hold on to that as you firm your legs and lift up. Ooh. Now then, press your legs down, press your arms down, lengthen your trunk. Remember how it was in Tadasana. How we lengthen from the bottom to the top. Shoulders are down, neck is long, chest is lifted. If you have the flexibility, you can walk your hands forward on the seat of the chair. You may be able to bring your elbows down to the seat of the chair. When you get that far, check yourself and see, you know, have I let this back hip come up high, or did I succeed? Did I keep it down low? And then walk your hands back and square up your feet and come up. Big stretch, right? Left foot. All right. So keep the left foot forward. Soften your knees a bit and square up your hips with the chair. It seems odd to me, but you can push your right hip forward with your right hand somehow. I don't know why you can, but you can. So you can use that. Push that hip forward. Pull it forward. Do whatever you have to do. Get the pelvis perpendicular. Lift up in your trunk, straighten your legs, shoulders back, chest up. At this point, it's good to put your hands on your hips. The thumb is right there next to the sacrum, and push that flesh down. And you'll feel how you feel anchored, and you can lift in your trunk and lift your chest. Now, Your legs, inhale. Lift your trunk. As you exhale, come forward over those nice strong legs. Keep your trunk lifted. Place your hands on the chair. Stretch back. First of all, check your hips before you stretch. And then push yourself back so that that left leg is really long. Lengthen your left leg and draw it into the hip socket.
Golly. Sorry.
I don't know why everybody's not muted. I muted everybody.
What?
I'm gonna try again. All right, everybody come up.
Yeah, Dana is not muted. She keeps popping on.
It is.
Dana?
Okay, I've muted everybody again. So nobody can hear you now. Let's go forward. I don't know. All right, so anyway, I hope you could feel
Later.
that did not work at all. I don't know why. All right. Anyway, I hope that you could feel that very specific work in your hips and the strength in your legs and the determination in your mind that you had to have to make those things happen. We're working with the biggest muscles in our body, and it takes a little bit of doing to get that to happen. So we're going to have an interrupted class, I'm afraid. I've hit mute all twice, and it hasn't worked, so my apologies. I don't know why. Let's work Utkatasana from the wall. Again, I will use the side wall because you'll be able to see my profile better. So at the wall, you're going to lean and put your hips on the wall, and your hands here at the side, and you're going to walk your feet out a bit, and you're going to bring your feet up, and your trunk goes forward, and your chest lifts. So you keep your knees over your ankles, take your thighs down, trunk goes forward, lift your chest, breathe. This is Utkatasana. You can bring your arms up. Is it going well, or you can stay there? Either way is fine. And then bring your hands back and come up. Support yourself and come up. Keep your hips on the wall. Take your hips a little further wider than hip, a little wider than hip width. Now we're going to do a forward bend. Lift up your hips off the wall and bend forward at least halfway, if not just slightly more. And then reset in the wall. Bring your hands forward to your shins. Press your shins and lift your trunk. Shoulders are back, neck is long. Kneecaps are lifted. Lift your hips up the wall. And then walk your hands back up. Push your hips off the wall. Okay, so now we're going to do, Let's work on Trikonasana just a moment. You can use your chair or a block, either one at the wall. This is one that's surprising. It surprises you at the wall because it lets you know whether you're straight or not. All right, so we're going to stand with our back to the wall. Then we're going to step your up. Sorry, I'm mirroring it. Right foot out. It's my left foot. It's your right. And And the block is right there at your ankle, at the wall. And get your left foot far away, toes turned in, about 3 or 4 feet. Now, if you soften your hips a bit, it's much easier. My hands are on my hips. Normally, a hip will do this if you don't train it to do something new. We want the hip to do this. Some of you may find it's easier to do this with your legs straight. So I'm not saying that bending your knees is the way to do it, but it's one way to do it, okay? I feel I get a little bit depth in my pose and the tailbone in when I do that, and then straighten my legs up under. My hip work better. We're all a little different. So we're going to lift up the arms up a little higher than shoulder. Let the shoulders come down. Make your arms really strong and stretch them out. Shoulder height. Now inhale, strengthen your legs. Feel those muscles in your hip socket now. And extend yourself over. Move here at the hip crease, just as we have in every other bend that we've done. Come down and touch your block. And then lengthen that leg. Stretch that right leg more. Take that hip away from the foot. So your right hip pulls away from the wall. Feel the work in your hip. Feel the work in the back. Lift your chest. Tailbone in. Those two actions have to be learned to be done simultaneously. And to come up, pull with that left arm. Come up, switch the block, and come down. See, check your foot alignment. At the wall is not as instinctive as when we step or jump. So check your foot alignment, heel to arch. Square your hips up so they are equidistant from the wall, and top of the hips are equidistant from the floor. So they're parallel horizontally and they're vertically straight. Okay? Then, when you straighten your legs, remember that these muscles, if this upper outer thigh that we've been talking about, that does that job for you. Rolling the top thigh from front to back takes the knees in line with the toes. Lift your arms up, a little higher than shoulder height. Take an inhale, get really big. Keep that lift in your trunk as you take your arms down. Shoulder height, shoulders down, chest up. Take an inhale, get really strong. And as you exhale, extend. Over. Stretch that left leg. Stretch the left side of your trunk. Come down and touch your block when it's right there for you. So you don't have to stretch for it. You don't have to bend for it. Continue to straighten your legs, especially that left leg. Then, shoulders back, lengthen your trunk. If that's going well, you can twist and look up at the ceiling. Look up at your thumb. And then come up. And square your feet. And step in. Refresh you. All right. So let's sit. Let's sit now. If you can sit on your heels, do that. If you cannot sit on your heels, you have several remedies. Not to mention, you can just sit in a chair and tuck your toes under, right? But we can get on the floor and sit on our heels and You see, if you have a Zoom when you watch the video, you'll see that my ankles are going out. So we want to bring our ankles in to the inside of the sit bones. Spread the toes, tailbone in, lift the trunk, shoulders back, chest lifts, head in line. You can sit on a block at any of its elevations. You can, especially for knee problems, you can use a folded blanket. Standing up nice and tall, pushing that deep underneath the knee so that you can sit. You can also put a blanket on the floor to pad your shins or the tops of your feet. I know that many of you have issues with extending through the ankle. So another thing that can be done, and I've done that for many years and finally improved my ankle by doing it, is sitting on, when you sit on your blanket, you want your knees and your ankles all on the blanket. And then you want just the ankle right on the edge. You can still sit on your block if you need to. It's fine. So you can sit like that. You can even put a little bit of padding under there, but for me, I don't find I need that once I've got the elevation, but you might. So there are a number of ways to work with this pose. And whatever limitations you have, work with them. Work with them. The thought is, how could I improve that? What would make that better? How could I help myself achieve that? All right. You can tuck your toes under and push up. I think this is a good way of stretching your toes. I won't make you sit on, but if you have time and you feel like you can stand a little bit of annoyance, this is not pleasant on anybody's toes that I know of until you do this for a very long time. Is to sit on the heels with the toes tucked under and bring your trunk up and just sit tall. When I first learned that, I'm going to confess, it made me say bad words. Okay, anyway, let's sit. Now, let's sit with the hips to the wall, lean forward. Pull your hips way back into the wall. You may need your strap for this. So bring your hips way back into the wall. Then bring your feet together. Press the sides of your hips down. Extend your heels and the ball of the big toe. Pull the little toes back. Spread your toes out. Lift your trunk. With your fingertips right by your hips, elbows at the wall. You can experiment, you can see, you can push your elbows and you can push your trunk forward. That's not the right spot. So hopefully your shoulders may or may not touch the wall, but they should be quite close. The back of your head may or may not touch the wall, but it should be very close. And if you're in a chair, try to imagine those data points in what we're doing, okay? So as you sit on the floor, find that straightness for yourself. These thighs have to learn to press the floor when you're sitting. It's not something most of us would think of doing, but this is very important to learn in yoga practice. So press your thighs down. This legs now are like Tadasana. Trunk is like Tadasana, just L-shaped Tadasana actions. All right. Now we can take our legs a little further apart, maybe hip width. I'm going to just work Paschimottanasana very quickly. If you have a strap, use your strap. Be sure that your hips are still firm into the wall. Sit up tall. Exhale as you come forward. Keep your trunk lifting. Your thighs must press the floor. Those legs are very active on the floor. Loop the belt around the ball, what we in the South call the ball of your foot. In yoga, we call it the sole of your foot. Draw your trunk up. Pull back on your belt. Press your feet into your belt. Pull your shoulders down. Lift your chest. Press your thighs down. And breathe. Once again, it's a little bit like having the clutch down and the accelerator going on a standard shift car. If that's going well for you, you can bend your elbows and lift them to come forward. Keep looking forward. If you can grab your feet easily, recharge your legs, lift your trunk, lift your elbows, draw your trunk forward, shoulders down, and continue. Keep breathing. And then come up. Take a big breath. Now we're going to work legs up the wall. There are a couple of good ways to get into this pose. I didn't realize I was going to use this side wall so much today. I'm glad it's there. I'm going to show you a couple of good ways to get into this pose. You're going to need a bolster and one block and one blanket. And the block is going to go on its middle side, or lowest side, at the wall. And the bolster goes up next to it, all right? Other blanket goes on the floor. All right, this is called Viparita Karani. There's two good ways that you can get your hips up on that bolster. One way is to sit on the very edge of your bolster so that your hip, your thigh is touching the wall. Then you roll over. The object is to keep your hips. Keep your hips as close to the wall as possible as you roll over. Use your arms to help you wiggle in. Hold on to the bolster. And go down. Now your hips do not have to touch the wall, but get them as close as you can and really stretch. I'll talk about this shape in just a minute. The second way, some people like, well, there's really three, but we're not going to do the third one, is to simply start with your hips on the floor. Then, with your feet on the wall, see, it's very easy to lift your hips. Now, what's not so easy here is to get your hips closer to the wall. The first way, if you can manage it, your hips are going to start closer to the wall. But you can hang on to your bolster and pull and wiggle until you're there. want the bolster so that your waist is in the approximately in the center of the bolster. That your hips, your entire buttocks is on the wall side of the bolster. And your floating ribs are on the other side. So you've got this really great arch in your back. And your shoulders should rest on the floor. Now, sometimes some of you may have a shorter torso and a bigger bolster. So you will need to put an extra blanket under your shoulders so that you have a little more height, because your head and shoulders should rest on the floor. And your hips, if everyone had a sandbag, would put a sandbag right there on the pubic bone and push it down. And if you're fighting to keep it down, that means you need to scoot a little further so it can go down. This opens the chest so beautifully, and it relieves the fatigue in the legs from our class. Imagine that there was a sandbag on your feet. Feel the weight of that sandbag coming down your legs into your hip socket. And allow that femur bone, that thigh bone, to soften down into the hip socket. It may take a small effort on your part. This will help that area recover and rejuvenate from the work. It will help it also to be installed as a good memory. So the benefit from the hips is and the legs is wonderful. We did not do any back bending today, and so this gives us a nice back extension and a wonderful lifting of our chest. Take your arms on the floor out to the side. You can even bring them up. Your elbows can be bent. You don't have to be extended. But open your armpits. And then just rest and enjoy this moment. Don't last that long. And at this point, the legs are still straight, but they're much more relaxed than they were at first. So they're not quite as extended. We keep enough awareness there to keep them up the wall and straight. But we're no longer actively contracting those muscles. Allow your breath to come into a pattern of slow, steady, even breathing. And I wish we could stay longer. If you're watching this on the video, you certainly can stay longer. But moving along, stay where you are with your trunk and simply bend your knees. Keep your knees together or close together and let them come down to your trunk. Put your feet on the wall, keep the feet on the wall, and feel that nice gentle compression in the torso, especially in the abdomen and up to the diaphragm. And take some nice breaths, a little bigger than usual. Now hold the bolster with your forearms, with your hands, and begin to wiggle yourself off until you're on the floor. Then cross your legs and rest them on the bolster, and you may need to adjust your t-shirt. And take your arms to the side, palms up. Take your glasses off at this point. I could have told you earlier, it would be better to take them off when we did the legs up the wall. Take your arms apart, you're up your body. Allow your shoulders to relax down. Tuck them underneath you so that they're very flat on the floor. The shoulder blades are flat on the floor. That provides a nice lift to your trunk. And relax. This will serve as our Shavasana. So arrange yourself thoughtfully on the floor and allow your breath to resume slow, steady rhythm. A little more purposeful than usual. It can be helpful to count the heartbeats like a metronome, and you begin to get an idea of what you can sustain at this moment. With your shoulder blades flat on the floor, you can experience a nice lift to your chest as you inhale. And maintain that lift to some extent. Don't be stiff about it, but maintain a little bit of that lift as you exhale. Don't just let it collapse inward as you exhale. Now let's change the cross of our legs. And resume that breath. Now uncross your legs. Put yourself away from your blanket, from your bolster, and hopefully you can roll to your right side, but if you need to roll to your left side, nothing terrible will happen. And rest there for a moment with your knees bent. And then roll yourself forward and push yourself to sitting. Sitting Swastikasana, which means that your feet are under your knees rather than this tighter, this ankle cross. The knees are a little closer. You're under the knees. Put your hands on your knees. Press the sit bones down. Tailbone in, pubic bone in. Feel how your trunk finds its way to stability and lift. From that lift, release the shoulders down. Neck lengthens. See that the head is balanced on the neck. Observe your breath. Allow it to be slow and steady. Create that intention, otherwise a normal breath. And join your palms together. The thumb side goes to the sternum. Lift that skin at the sternum. Keep that lifted as you release your shoulders down. Take an inhale, lift your trunk again, and keep it lifted as you bow your head in gratitude for all the blessings of your life. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for coming.